Now you're good? Okay. I'll call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Corey, you want that back?
Okay. We'll start off by approval of the August 22nd regular meeting minutes. Any discussion on those?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And approval for the September 5th regular meeting minutes.
Motion.
Second. Motion second. Any discussion on those? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the CSE, CPSE recommendations.
Make a motion. Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. And we're up to public comment. Any public comment tonight? We do have a few students in the audience. Government class, if you want to introduce yourselves. Welcome. If you need something signed afterwards, let one of the board members know. They'll sign them for you. Okay. Introduction of new staff. Who shall do the honors?
Oh, that's fine. Tonight we have with us Mr. John Nolan, our transportation supervisor.
Hey.
Opportunity for, get to know you. Other than you were in the Walton Reporter, last week?
Yep.
So you made the reporter before you made the board meeting, but here we are. So off to a good start. From everything I hear, everything's going well.
Yep, very well.
Yep.
Busy summer, but we're getting through it.
Getting comfortable yet?
I won't say comfortable.
Not comfortable yet.
Settled in. Yeah.
There you go.
The school was a little crazy. A lot of people called the day before they registered their kids for the bus. There was 67 bus changes the day before school started. So,
Wow.
I thought we had the routes kind of set up, and then we changed them all again the night before. So, got everybody here. So.
There you go.
Which is quite an increase in comparison to the past, according to the conversation you had with Teresa.
Yeah, Tracy said it was above normal changes for the day before school.
So we'll evaluate our communication. Maybe we need to do some reminders next summer and try to avoid that. Get them in earlier. So John doesn't have to sleep there overnight.
Try to do a cutoff date or something.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll do it that. We'll figure that out.
So how
Try to
many,
make it better.
from your previous district, how many bus students did you have?
There was 189 kids pre-K to 12. Of that, about 120 rode the bus probably. So
Okay.
now we're looking at over 600 kids riding the bus. Big change for me.
Wow, yeah.
Off to a good start, though. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you.
Well, welcome aboard. You don't have to stay for the full meeting, unless anybody wants them to stay for the full meeting. Doesn't happen earlier tonight. Caught up on bus stuff. Okay.
We'll give that a little bit of time then.
All right, well, it was nice meeting everybody.
Welcome aboard. Have a good night.
Take care.
Okay, we're up to discussion items. So, just a reminder, we have a policy committee meeting next Monday at 5:30. Facility committee met last week. Who'd like to give a report? Kevin?
I can. I was
We'll tag.
double checking to make sure I had the policy.
On for 5:30, that's okay.
Yes, that's right. Facilities, yes, we did the updates on the town and school projects going very well. That's been impressive, and touched on the finishing things up here at the high school with the parking lot. Basically, that's pretty well wrapped up. The generator, I believe we were looking still at the September or October, right?
I actually have an update on that. I was gonna give later in superintendent remarks, I'll do it now since it's timing. Found out today, generator is going to be on site this Thursday at 10 a.m. They're bringing in a crane. So we have the details, I forwarded out to the administrators. We had to cone off some parking spots out back. We got a boom out about 90 foot to put it in place. So it's gonna be here at 10 a.m. Transfer,
Okay.
switch went in Saturday.
And everything went well with that?
It came on, we had a couple, pieces of equipment that went, but we don't know if it's tied to that or it's just circumstance. We had a switch go that Rick, was here majority of this week on getting that switched over to a new one. BT came on site, helped them with that. We got our switch back in, we went at the internet this morning. So, appreciate Rick's diligence. He called me at 11:30 Saturday night, and he said, I think we have a problem. And he was back on site before noon the next day, and they had it swapped out and put back in place, so, that worked out. But, could have been an interesting Monday, but it didn't, so it worked out fine.
No. And really, in a nutshell, it's things are getting wrapped up on this side of the river, and I believe there was some changes just this week, and it looks like the paving projects should be completed by the end of this week with the entrances down here.
Yep.
So I think when we met, we were talking next week where that got pushed ahead. So I may be missing some of we discussed the lockers and we discussed other details, but I mean, that's really the scope of the bigger ticket items. We'll have some stuff coming forward to the board here probably in the future, I would say. And we discussed our setting up our 5-year plans and stuff like that, our 5 and 10-year plan as far as the maintenance of the building and what we want to do for projects. So we're in the beginning phases. Well, I shouldn't say in the beginning, but we've reinitiated that conversation. We've had that, and then the projects kicked in. So that's, I believe we start that, comes the main topic of our meetings next month, or October, right? September, I think.
Yep.
October meeting.
Yeah, October, November.
Then we'll be including the board probably as we go on that, we'll give you guys, we'll get it narrowed down. I think it was the idea to like more of a punch list and then include the board on where do we actually, fine tune it to the finer details. But
We're gonna set up workshops and work sessions, on the 5-year plan starting November 14th. And I think what we're gonna try to do is do a campus by campus, similar to how the 5-year plan is written, broken out. So high school, middle school is one campus, Townsend School is second campus, and the bus route would be a third campus. And just try to work through the priorities for each one of the structures. So our meetings are a little bit shorter and more focused on one at a time. So it's easier for the facilities and everybody to prepare for it, have those in-depth discussions, involve principals, and everyone else, one building at a time, and then kind of bring that through the board process as well as, at the end we have to put it all together. But comparing priorities from Townsend to middle school, that's gonna be the challenging part. What everybody's gonna have to get involved with. Once we sort out what priorities per campus, it's kind of how we're gonna mesh those all together for the implementation of the 5-year plan is gonna be the challenge. October 17th is our next meeting at 5. We're gonna have that right ahead of our regular business meeting. These are just brief updates on the capital project, so these will be updates to the facilities committee on where they're at with Townsend School and where the progress is and where they're turning that over. You can see that they have a full work crew in there on the first shift schedule. There's cars parked everywhere in the front, so they're still working every day to get that thing opened up for us.
Is that prioritization, is that of the existing projects that have already been identified, and just sort of ranking them, not identifying new projects, or is that part of the discussion as well?
The process that we're into is identifying new projects.
Oh, new projects.
What we have going is we're keeping up with that, but we're looking forward to what needs to be done next type of thing.
For the next capital
Right,
project,
and
Okay.
as debt rolls off, we
in the
might
work
be able
that
to tie
schedule,
it
right?
in.
The consultants put together their list based on their mandatory 5-year building condition survey. So they threw their list together per campus like that. Now it's our turn to step in and say, these are our priorities. These are some of the things that we see, and then start prioritizing by campus. And then again, we have to prioritize your next capital project. I'm guessing it's 27, 28-ish
Yep.
is what the target for. So we have to start planning for that at least 3 years in advance,
Yeah, I think
based on voting and everything else that has to take place. So then the main body of work that the board's gonna have to do is, you have 3 different sets of priorities per campus, how do they actually line up? And how do you sort out high school, middle school versus a bus garage versus, you know, and those priorities? And if there are any other additional priorities per campus, we're still gonna have input to say, you know, we think that the parking lot needs to be done at Townsend, right? Like, that's on the list, but I'm just saying, like, if we have other ideas like that, we can still get them into that process.
And
And that-
affordability, and if it can last that long, for instance, parking lots and stuff, can they last that long?
And I think the inspection produced, what, 10 type pages?
Yeah.
10, 11, I mean, so there's
Yeah.
a lot to go through to kind of start.
That's why we broke it out by campus, we really didn't wanna.
To make a note, we need to get the latest rendition of the priorities
Right
that
down.
Dan sent, we got it in the library.
Right down to tile replacement, you know, in a room or, you know, closet. Something that they see, you know, they've added it and then put it in a category for code, priority,
And then
something like that.
a fee gets, a value gets placed to it, a cost, repair value, and then, so it's,
The bigger challenge is the ticketed items that don't have a cost associated with them.
right.
How we're gonna weigh those out, because it could be different funding sources. NYSERDA, if it's a clean and green energy. So as we get closer, there's gonna be a lot more work, but that's how we're trying to look at it right now, is by campus, to try to make it tangible so we can get through it. The other meeting we have scheduled for facilities is December 12th at 5 o'clock as well. That's also an update. And then, again, November, we're starting, excuse me, December 12th is going to be another one of the work sessions, I believe.
The, just, I didn't think about it at our facilities meeting. The end of October, my day changes, so if we look to do meetings at 5 or even earlier, I can do that, where right now my work schedule's the hold up on some of that, so.
Okay.
That's good, because you're all scheduled for 5.
So, well, just, yeah,
That works out good.
yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I
it'll
can
be
do week
an
earlier
hour,
too, if
hour
that
and a half
needs be.
condensed.
Anything else on facilities? Finance committee will meet in October and December to begin the budget development. Based on feedback we've received so far, dates to consider are October 16th and 24th at 5:30. They don't appear to work for all. Corey threw out other dates of October 2nd, 4th, 5th, 18th, or anytime 23rd, 24th. I'm sure we have to do another poll to figure out the finance committee.
Would you like me to resend these dates out to the committee?
Yes, please. Because that's important that we start working on that. It seems like it's early, but you never have enough time to, and then we have to wait for what the government puts out. It's- Okay, we received a list of retreat topics. Did everybody receive that list? And then we just have to make a decision whether or not we want to stay in-house with our own attorney, or whether we want to go to NISBA. NISBA has a fee to it. Potentially, there's not a fee if we stick with Ferrer and Forenza. But those are the topics. If everybody can pick like 5, and then we'll see where people have commonality and what they've suggested, and go from there. I'm sure that topics in the top can go vice versa. Like, I don't know if we need to bring in both entities to do a retreat. So
Yeah, NISBA is typically a full retreat on its own, based on topics. Ferrara and Forenza, a lot of the NISBA stuff, if it's legal, Ferrara and Forenza is their main presenter as well, is what we find in those workshops. So whatever you decide, we'll figure it out.
I'd like to see us save money if we can, but that's up to everybody else. I don't know if there's a need to spend $2,000 or $2,700 on a full day workshop.
Well, curious about this new superintendent transition item on there.
I was wondering that too. Why didn't I get on there for NISBA? They brought it to us for topics?
Must be.
We didn't push it to them, so
Must be.
we gotta worry about that for like 10, 20 years. Okay, so if you can send a, 5, your top 5 to Corey, and we can start discussing those. Correspondence.
We do not have anything.
Oh, on there's the enrollment report as well.
Yep.
Discussion items, did you mention it?
I did not.
So that's there, as you know, we'll bring that forward, at least beginning of the year and then quarterly. If you're curious at any time, you want it more than that, you want it monthly, we'll put it in, not an issue. You can tell us how often you want it, and we'll put it in there so you can see it as we go through the year. It fluctuates as you know, so, but, that's a report that's sitting right in our management system that Corey prints out on any date, and we put it right in.
Is it possible to get it graphically?
Graphically,
Yeah.
not that report.
See it over time?
I can give you that
Yeah.
enrollment
Total
trends.
enrollment.
I can give you a total enrollment trends over time. I actually just pulled some data. I can go back like 20 years, and I'm putting that together for you. And I'm gonna bring that forward, probably at the curriculum committee. I'm gonna bring that forward as enrollment, as a chart. So, yeah, I got you.
Okay.
So we're gonna have that, we're gonna bring that forward. We have the multi-year trend of the state graduation rate, gonna extend those out, so we'll have a 10 to 20-year look on those things, so you'll see the historical perspective, and then we'll have it, and then the next following year just be added and just be brought back out. So I've been able to obtain some of that data.
I don't mean to go off topic, but a similar note, is there an attendance report like this as well? That or tracks attendance over time?
Well, overtime's difficult, possibly. They're working on that in our data portal at BT BOCES. They've started that SRIC data portal, and that's one of the things we requested last year. I'm on some committees down there, and one of the things that they're working on is getting that data in there, especially because right now chronic attendance is an issue. So they are looking at that. Outside of that, could pull years of attendance off of it and create something if they don't have it. So one way or the other, we can have it.
Okay.
What's difficult is if you've gone to the state data site, public data site house, which is the school report card and
Right.
various things, and I showed Corey this, which I don't know if she believed me at first, but I said, I'm telling you, depending on where I go, it's a different number. So you look at enrollment, and if you go to the school report card, it's one number. Then you go to the special ed site, it's a different number. You go to this site, it's a different, right in their own system. So if you go, every data set you go to. So I'll pick a data set, which is our reporting data set, and that's what I'm going to, so we have apples to apples. So if you go to the public data site, depending on where you go to, you may see different numbers. And I don't know why it is. It's all coming from the same numbers coming out of our system, going to one place, but they report it differently. Explain that.
You did say New York State.
I did say New York State, I did, but that's interesting. So yes, long story short, I'm gonna start building, I want to start building some of these spreadsheet graphs attached to it, so it's easy just to put the following year and just populate it and bring it forward. So it isn't a work session every time you go to do it, so.
Our total enrollment's at 853.
As of that date, yes.
So didn't we say quarterly we wanted to see these?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. But again, if you want it, at any point in time, anybody's curious, just let Graydon know, and we'll add it to the agenda.
Okay, with that, how about any new agenda items?
No, we have none.
Okay. Okay, consent agenda, we have got our financial reports, transfer of funds, approve the Madison Oneida intermunicipal agreement, personnel resignation retirements, personnel unpaid leave of absence, personnel split stipend, personnel appointments corrected, appointments, athletic recommendations, emergency, and then athletic recommendations. Are there any discussion on any of those pieces? Just a note that Madison Oneida intermunicipal agreement, we're on our third year with that agreement.
Correct. And that's, if we need, that's not labor relations, we have a service for that, but if we need different functionality outside of labor relations, such as a student discipline hearing officer or some other legal matter, then it goes into the municipal and it gets billed underneath that contract. So I think we used it once last year, and hopefully we'll not use it much at all this year.
Any discussion on any of those items?
Make a motion? Second.
Motion second, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is carried. Okay, new business, approval of the transition service agreement. That's the delivery of transition services to students for the 23-24 school year, effective September 1st through August 31st, 2024 is the contract between ARC. You want to elaborate a little bit on that? It's one of the services that they provide for us.
So we had this, last year we had the service, we had one student who required it. As I've explained in the past, once a student hits a certain age, particularly 16 in this case, there's a certain level of transition services, time out in the public, workforce development, skill development that we must provide. But if you don't have, right now we have a program that extends between middle high. We don't have a single, we don't have the population to have a classroom in high school and a classroom focused in middle school where you could build in more of a structure for this, so we need some outside support to be able to get it done. Versus creating a new classroom, you don't have the enrollment to do in the classroom. So this is an extension of that and an additional number of students who are underneath the contract this year.
Any discussion on that? I entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That agreement is approved. 9, old business is committee made during, our committees that were formed during our reorganizational meeting, or annual reorganizational meeting. Just want to add Rhonda Williams to the audit committee. I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You had your chance to oppose. Carried.
No.
Okay, policy review. Kevin, please.
Which one?
Not it.
I thought this transition between Paul and you was gonna work perfectly.
Gonna make that rule?
Just reading these out, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right. 1900, parent and family engagement. 5030, student complaints. 5800, student contests and awards. 6690, audit committee. 6700, purchasing. 6751.1, uniform guidance internal controls. 9120, extracurricular personnel code of ethics. 9121.1, conflict of interest. 9140.1, staff complaints and grievances. 9150, staff student relations. And 9645, disclosure of wrongful conduct.
Thank you, sir. Those are just a reference for our annual policy review plan, so that's just a subset for this month. If you see any of those, review them on your own time. Any of the new policies coming to us, we don't have any right now, but we'll be meeting next Monday to discuss.
If we have any recommendations, who do we direct them to?
Myself, I can take them to the policy, see that's how I'm on it. Okay. We're up to administrative remarks.
Okay, Mr. Hoover could not be with us this evening. His report is in Word docs. If there's any questions on that. His advisory venture dates are listed. The first one actually was today, rain date 9/20, so we'll give a report on how that went. So move on from there, let's go to Mr. Gomez.
We have homecoming this weekend. We start with a pep rally on Friday for our students. We then have a parade Saturday morning, the home football game, and then we wrap it up with a dance in the middle school at night. Definitely one of the busiest and exciting weekends for our students, and we look forward to seeing everybody there.
What time is crowning, 10 o'clock?
Yes.
And I'm assuming Downsville's gonna join for the, float
Downsville
building
and one of their administrators are coming for the dance, and then for the pep rally, we also have them coming over with an administrator.
And they're doing the float building as well, like they did last year? together as a team?
Yes, those that are on sports
On
teams.
sports
yes.
teams? Very nice. Any questions for Mr. Loomis? Ms. Hector?
Townsend had a really great opening, considering all the construction. We had a different route for the kids to come into the building, and they were champs. They really listened. I got on every bus. They really kind of went through everything, and it went very smoothly, so I'm very grateful for that. We had UPK open house on August 31st, and we're looking forward to having K through 5 on Thursday night this week. So we're looking to get the parents in and really get to show them the classroom and have the kids show them what they've been doing.
Any questions for Melanie?
I don't have a question for Melanie, but I do have a question for, I'm assuming it's for Mr. Robinson that might be doing it. To put a message out there, not just at high school or for sports, but when things are going on at Townsend School, high school, middle school, will that be up on that display on Delaware Street?
Yes, events such as events open to the public.
Okay,
So the parent communication piece, that's a, you know, we still have our parent communication avenues, so we're not gonna, you know, we're not doing all the athletic events, we're not doing the, you know, like open house, that's a parent event, but music, concerts, plays, things where we want the community to be invited to and open to, board meetings, votes, I'm sure there's a number of other things, so. And if you have any ideas as a board or things we should consider, please, we can discuss it monthly here, whatever your thoughts are that way. We just have too many, you know, as that cycles, you can't, there's no way you can do, so you got so many, you gotta be concise, or you'll never see as it goes through.
right.
But, yeah, the parent or the public communication dialogue or, you know, accessibility to the public information to hopefully increase see more and more people coming to events. It'd be
Plays
great to see
and
that.
games and stuff.
Yep.
I know coming from a distance, either direction, it's easier to see when it's a lighter background and darker wording versus a black background and orange. You know, even though
Yeah.
those are our colors, it's still, you know, when you're driving and looking to see what it says. I think it said, school board meeting tonight. It was with the white and the blue, that stood out. You know, people could see that, so.
Like I always
Oh,
drive
good
by with,
feedback.
I always drive by with the school board meetings, it's in orange, September 5th, September 19th. I always seem to catch that same one timing wise.
Those are individual graphics that take quite a bit of time to do.
Do they?
But the
It-
school one,
I mean, it catches your
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah.
I created a movie for that one.
That looks good.
And that
I
only
like the
shows up
welcome back
somewhere.
for the kids too. You know, the
That
welcome
was
back.
pre-made, so there are some pre-made ones as well.
Okay,
So there's quite a few pre-made ones, and then a couple I've spent time with.
they look nice. It's nice to have. Nice addition.
So again, if there's ideas, you know, I think the on-site tax collection has been helpful, and they updated that after Friday. They updated it to the next 2 dates, and that was put out. So hopefully that'll help remind people that they can come up and when they can come up. We had a great turnout. And it was great to have the public back on site, so. And we had a lot of compliments and a lot of comments about our construction and parking and the additions. If we had that many people up here during a normal, before we did the parking lot, I don't know where they would have parked. It would have been a terrible, it must have been years ago, right, Rhonda, when you were in
Oh,
that
they
office?
used to park in front of the school and
where
it
was
would be a
plugged,
line,
right?
yeah.
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 So what?
And they just couldn't, we had
what a
on the
difference.
bill that they couldn't come during, bus time. It
Yeah.
had to be after bus time, but, yeah, it's
Much
nice to
change.
hear the feedback about people coming in to pay their taxes and seeing what their tax money is being utilized for, other than, you know, the education, but they're seeing the facilities and what we're doing to them.
Yep, the improvement, the
nice.
upkeep. Okay, for me, I mentioned the generator, it's going in on Thursday. The Stronger Connections grant, we were able to get that completed. My hat's off to Meg Hungerford again. She carried us all on her back and pushed us down the road, and the administrative team stepped up, especially during my absence. And they really put together a nice grant, focused on SEL, focused on PD, and various other aspects. So we won't hear, I don't believe, until like December. So that's when it's supposed to, the application's supposed to be going out. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get some feedback between now and then and some adjustments needed, but it did go in and Friday, and it was a successful submission, and we'll see what happens.
We're expecting that to be a part of the next budget development, like, is it gonna be timely, will it be next school calendar year available?
Yes, we should know by December, in the middle of the budget development. And while we were not able to do some plant supplement, that was the issue. This becoming a 3-year grant goes a year after the federal grants. If you recall, we had a couple positions within the federal grant related to SEL, and those, if this is successful, will be moving to this grant for the next 2 years, which will be a huge help to our budget development. But more details if we get the grant.
Great.
And how that goes, so we'll see.
And what do we think we were eligible for, the amount?
It was 800 and some thousand, I
Okay,
believe.
didn't change
Yep.
then?
No, that was,
That's the other two.
they did a calculation per pupil, so we knew the amount going up that they told us. And so we worked to make sure that we could maximize it.
Is it a yes or no, or we could get a percentage of that? Not sure.
I think it's a yes or no.
Or is
I don't
it?
think it's a, and honestly, I'm optimistic about it with the way this has come through, and the amount that they have. So I'm hopeful that it'll go through. We definitely are right within all the metrics of what they're looking for as they focus on this. And as a high need school, we hit a lot of the metrics for points. It is competitive, but again, it's only competitive if there's more requested than what is available. But if it's the opposite, then it becomes less, and that's a pretty heavy allocation from the state, and it's back to back with 2 other grants. So if you're a larger district, the recubs, and then this right behind it, I think it'll be a balance, and high need school districts are being hit with the second one more so. So I think we're in a shot like that. So with Meg, I'll have Meg put together either for the next meeting or even a Friday letter, and we'll actually get you the content, what's in the application. You'll know exactly what was in there, and what we're requesting and what we're requesting for. So she's got her budget side, her AS10 within it. We'll pull that out, tear it apart, pull it out, and provide it so you'll know exactly what's in there. So we'll get that to you.
Great.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, there's no need for executive session tonight, so who would make a motion to adjourn?
Move
Second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
it. Aye.
We are